in what some would argue is a violation of presidential immunity and most certainly an overreach on the part of any prosecutor in this country, Special Prosecutor Jack Smith obtained a warrant to go through President Donald Trump's Twitter account. What was he looking for? What was he trying to do? What does it all even mean? Hang on, folks. We're going to get into all this in just 1 second. My name is Brian Trippett. I am your front porch conservative. Step on up to my electronic front porch and let's talk. About 2 o'clock today, former President Donald Trump took to Truth Social to make a post about something that was just starting to cross all the news wires around the country. Let's take a look at what he had to say. From his Truth Social page, quote, "Just found out that crooked Joe Biden's DOJ secretly attacked my Twitter account, making it a point not to let me know about this major hit on my civil rights. My political opponent is going crazy trying to infringe on my campaign for president. Nothing like this has ever happened before. Does the First Amendment still exist? Did deranged Jack Smith tell the unselects to destroy and delete all evidence? These are dark days in America." Now, some people might read that and say, Trump's being a little over the top again. What's he talking about? I mean, what is all this? Well, ladies and gentlemen, hang on for a second, because it turns out that, yes, indeed, that is exactly what happened. The prosecutor in the January 6th matters, Jack Smith, has taken it on himself to obtain a warrant to go after former President Donald Trump's Twitter account. We go to a news article from Politico. Folks, take a look at this. Special counsel obtains search warrant for Donald Trump's Twitter account. Twitter's initial resistance to complying with the warrant resulted in a federal judge holding the company in contempt and levying a $350,000 fine. Article written by Kyle Cheney. Special counsel Jack Smith obtained a search warrant for Donald Trump's Twitter account at Real Donald Trump earlier this year, according to newly revealed court documents. Twitter's initial resistance to complying with the January 17th warrant resulted in a federal judge withholding the company, now called X, in contempt and levying a $350,000 fine. A federal court of appeals upheld that fine last month in a sealed opinion. On Wednesday, the court unsealed a redacted version of that opinion, revealing details of the secret court battle for the first time. Okay, let's get into this. You know, just when you think that Jack Smith, who we here on the front porch refer to as Jackboot, just when you think old Jackboot can't get any lower, then you find out stuff like this. Stuff that's happened months ago and is just now starting to see the light of day. It is absolutely amazing to me, the measures and the lengths that old Jackboot's going to on this deal. Now, let me show you what part of that unsealed document looked like, and you'll get an idea of how far this is going, which is, frankly, too far for anybody's good taste. From that unsealed document, second paragraph, listen to this. On January 17, 2023, the government applied for and obtained a search warrant that directed Twitter to produce data and records related to the @RealDonaldTrump Twitter account. At the same time, now listen to this, this will blow your mind. At the same time, the government applied for and obtained a non-disclosure order which prohibited Twitter from disclosing the existence or contents of the search warrant to any person. Last sentence in that paragraph, the non-disclosure order was to remain in effect for 180 days after issuance. Ladies and gentlemen, do you realize what the federal government was asking for here? It's bad enough they were trying to get their hands on a search warrant to go through Donald Trump's Twitter account, but they wanted a non-disclosure agreement to be in place so Twitter couldn't tell anybody, particularly Donald Trump. Absolutely amazing. I mean, can you imagine if this piece of news would have hit the press or gotten out in the general public, the reaction that would have happened? But to make sure that old Jackboot wouldn't get any flack for what he was doing, he made sure to do it very quietly. Not only are we going to get the warrant, we're going to get a non-disclosure agreement slapped on Twitter. Unbelievable the lengths that this guy is going to. And furthermore, not only the lengths he'll go to, but the things he's willing to violate doing it. Take a look at this. This is a tweet from Mike Davis from the Article 3 Project. Jack Smith, Biden's political hitman, got a secret warrant from an Obama D.C. judge, secretly blessed by one Obama and two Biden D.C. appellate judges, for Trump's Twitter account with nearly 90 million followers from when he was president of the United States. The Second Circuit held that the president's Twitter account is, quote, a public forum. Yet the Biden Justice Department did not raise presidential immunity, and that's a very important point. Why? Because they are so hell-bent on taking out their boss's chief political enemy. These actions and inactions by the Biden Justice Department and their Democrat judges will cause serious damage to the presidency long after Trump. And all Americans' First Amendment rights, we are in very dangerous territory as a country. And I tell you what, Mike Davis has a completely valid point. Communications of the president have a certain measure of protection on them, be they communications between he and his staff or communications in general. Well, why is the Biden Justice Department not arguing on behalf of the office of the presidency, not necessarily Trump, but the office of the presidency, that these communications, even though they may be on Twitter, why aren't they covered under presidential immunity? I mean, and again, I agree with Davis completely on this point. Are these people so hell-bent for leather to get Trump under any circumstances that they will jettison everything out the window? Presidential immunity, norms, tradition, everything to make sure that Donald Trump does not return to the presidency. Look, whether you like Donald Trump, don't like Donald Trump, that's not the issue here. These people are absolutely tearing it all down and burning it down in the process. And that's the part that's the most ironic to me. They made the argument in the 2020 campaign, we've got to get back to civility. We've got to get back to the norms of the presidency. Donald Trump is absolutely upending everything, all the norms and customs of the presidency. What do you think these guys are doing? This is insane. Absolutely insane. And you want to know just how insane it is? Oh, you're going to love this next part. This is a tweet from Julie Kelly. Take a look at this. OMFG. Jack Smith, quote, errantly claimed Trump was a flight risk. Let me read that again. Claimed Trump was a flight risk to convince Judge Beryl Howell to prevent Trump from knowing about the Twitter search warrant. Beryl Howell agreed that Trump would, quote, flee from prosecution, so she ordered the case sealed. Now, there's a footnote there. I've got a bigger picture of it. Take a look at this. Let me see if I can put... There we go. Let me pull this up. Here we go. There's a footnote. The district judge also found reason to believe that the former president would flee from prosecution. The government later acknowledged, however, that it had errantly included flight from prosecution as a predicate in its application. The district court did not rely on risk of flight in its ultimate analysis. Oh, for the love of God, this is just... Risk of flight? That's why you had to seal these documents? That you were scared to death that Donald Trump would flee prosecution? Man's only been indicted now in 3 courts in this country. I don't see him hopping on a jet airliner yet. I don't see him running down to Jamaica. He ain't headed for Cancun. Seriously? The government argued? Oh, we did it mistakenly. Oh, really? You argued that Trump would be a flight risk? That's just laughable on its face, but even smarter people than me realize how dumb that is. Take a look at this response from Jonathan Turley, law professor and constitutional scholar. This will crack you up. It is hard to understand that finding, talking about the flight risk. Trump is one of the most recognized faces in the world. Where would he flee? Moreover, he's been sued and charged around the country without going on the lam. Yet the district court cited the flight risk in ordering the secret subpoena. He also has 24/7 Secret Service protection. Was the court afraid that he would lose and then evade his security team? Don a disguise? Hop a fishing boat to Cuba? What is not clear is whether Jack Smith originally claimed this risk or the court spontaneously added it. Oh my God. I mean, I'm not saying that Jonathan Turley is not a humorless man, but I'll tell you what, that's got to be one of the funniest things I've ever heard him say or ever read him from him. That's absolutely funny. You know, what's he going to do? Shake off the Secret Service team, put on a phony mustache, hop a boat down to Cuba? This is absolutely insane what's going on here. But that sort of begs the question. It's insane. It's prosecutorial overreach. It's abuse. It's violation of presidential immunity. But why? Why would you go after Donald Trump's Twitter account, for God's sake? Man hasn't used it ever since, old Rasputin threw him off of Twitter way back when. Hasn't touched the thing. So what's Jack Smith digging around for? Jack Posobiec has a possible theory. Take a look at this. Trump never uses DMs, in other words, direct messages, which is a function of Twitter. Jack Smith is going after everyone who is logged into his account so they can haul them into court. That's what this Twitter search warrant is all about, exactly in line with our prior reporting on the expanded reach of his investigation. And more specifically, what Posobiec is talking about is the following. Let me blow this up a little bit, make it easier to read. This is another tweet from Poso. From a former Trump administration staffer, over the last weeks, the Jack Smith investigation has been drastically widened. They're now dragging in mid-level and junior campaign and White House staffers. Even though the indictment has been handed down, some are being forced to testify in the coming weeks. The goal here is clear: chilling of the right to free speech, reducing the right of assembly, and to scare away GOP staff from future campaigns and administrations. This is the long battle, and they're fighting to win. They're trying to find out, according to Poso's theory, who logged into Trump's Twitter account and what were they doing, and furthermore, were there any direct messages going back and forth? This is just incredible. Absolutely amazing. And I'll tell you one thing right now. I don't care which set of Republicans on either side of Capitol Hill get off their hind parts and start doing something about this, but by God, somebody needs to start fighting back. And I got a warning for you congressional Republicans that are just kind of, oh, we don't want to get our hands dirty. This is so awful what they're doing to Donald Trump, but it's a judicial matter, and we really have no say in this. We must let this situation play out. Play out my foot. As soon as they get done roasting Donald Trump over the spit, they're coming after you, you dummies. Yes, I can. I can believe you are being this lazy and this stupid all at the same time not to do something and fight back against this. But I'll give credit to one person. Matt Gaetz has got a really good idea. Take a look at this. This is from the Gateway Pundit. Headline: Matt Smith outlines bold plan that would give Trump immunity from Jack Smith's cases against him. Republican Matt Gaetz has put forth a bold plan that could blunt the Democratic harassment of former President Donald Trump and expose some of the left's worst abuses all at the same time. Quote, this isn't complicated. If House Republicans take action, Jack Smith could be the first prosecutor to bring a case while under criminal contempt himself. Merrick Garland could be subject to impeachment if he refuses to enforce the criminal contempt. The congressman fleshed out his plan during an appearance on the Charlie Kirk Show. Here's what we ought to do, and we shouldn't make it that complicated. First of all, we should tell Jack Smith that he has to show up and give a transcribed interview to the House Judiciary Committee in the next 15 days. If he doesn't do that, we issue a subpoena. If he ignores the subpoena, we should hold him in criminal contempt of Congress, and if Merrick Garland won't enforce that criminal contempt, then he subjects himself to impeachment. Simultaneous to all that, you can actually bring Trump in to give testimony to the Congress, and in doing so, immunize him, Gaetz said. You have to think about it almost like a whistleblower protection. Trump, the ultimate whistleblower, potentially the beneficiary of congressional immunity. I tell you what, I've never heard of something like this being proposed, but I tell you what, it's got a lot of merit. And now, like I said, if the congressional Republicans don't do something, old Jackboot's going to burn the whole thing down, and after he gets done roasting Trump, they're next. This isn't going to stop until finally it is stopped. Remember what your mom and dad taught you growing up? How do you stop a bully? You tell them the first time, don't do it. You tell them the second time, don't do it. And you tell them a point where you say, one more time and we act. It's time for the Congress to act. I mean, you've got the majority in the House of Representatives. You've got power. Do something with it. And if you don't, you're going to have more situations like the one I'm about to describe. You think what's going on with Jack Smith is bad enough? Check this out from Breitbart. Headline, January 6th committee destroyed records, videos, Trump's rights violated. The January 6th committee, headlined by story by Joel Pollack, the January 6th committee defied a demand last year by incoming House Speaker Kevin McCarthy to preserve all of its records, evidence, and transcripts, and has destroyed much of what it collected over more than a year of investigation. Representative Barry Loudermilk, Republican Georgia, made that revelation to Fox News Digital on Tuesday, also noting that the committee had not looked into possible security lapses at the Capitol and that much of the material that the committee did preserve was disorganized. I've got a question for the congressional Republicans. How much more of this has to happen before you finally do something? Look, whether you like Donald Trump, you don't like Donald Trump, fine. But what about the average American? Are you going to let these jackbooted thugs in the Justice Department absolutely run roughshod over the rights of individual Americans, or are you actually going to stand up and do something about it? That's the million-dollar question. And you better figure out an answer to this fast, because people are watching. Very quickly, you won't have people watching, and you won't have people helping, and you won't even be in office. But that's what I think about it. What do you think? As we start to wrap up this video, please do me some favors as always. Number one, if you're not a subscriber to the channel, please do so. Number two, please hit the bell for notifications. I want to make sure you're always aware when new videos, new material are coming out. Number three, please leave a comment below. You wouldn't believe how much that would help a relatively new content creator. Number four, please share the video around. And number five, please give me a thumbs up. My name is Brian Trippett. I am your Front Porch Conservative, and I will see you next time.